وأزواجنا به أزواجا مختلفا ألوانها ومن الجبال جدد بيض وحمر مختلف ألوانها وغرابيب سود ومن الناس والدواب والأنعام مختلف ألوانه كذلك إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء إن الله عزيز غفور إن الذين يتلون كتاب الله وأقاموا الصلاة وأنفقوا مما رزقناهم سرا وعلانية يرجون تجارة لن تبور ليوفيهم أجورهم ويزيدهم من فضله إنه غفور شكور والذي أوحينا إليك من الكتاب هو الحق مصدقا لما بين يديه إن الله بعباده لخبير بصير ثم أورثنا الكتاب الذين اصطفينا من عبادنا فمنهم ظالم لنفسه ومنهم مقتصد ومنهم سابق بالخيرات بإذن الله ذلك هو الفضل الكبير جنات عدن يدخلونها يحلون فيها من أساور من ذهب ولؤلؤا ولباسهم فيها حرير وقالوا الحمد لله الذي أذهب عنا الحزن إن ربنا لغفور شكور الذي أحلنا دار المقامة من فضله لا يمسنا فيها نصب ولا يمسنا فيها لغوب صدق الله العظيم.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Again, we welcome you to this Islamic conference that we will hold as our first step, inshallah, in the series in the future. May Allah accept this and make this all to His pleasure. The program, as you already have seen, mainly constitutes from three lectures in the morning, and then, inshallah, after the lunch break, we will have one more lecture. The first speaker today, inshallah, is going to be our Imam Ali Sulaiman. He, Jazakallah Khair, was part of this group. And he is, as you all know, a very active member in our community. And he used to be with us in Ann Arbor previously. He obtained his bachelor degree from the Islamic University in Medina Munawwara, and his master's degree and his PhD from the University of Michigan. Currently, Imam Ali Sulaiman is the Imam of the Masjid Salah and teaches at Wayne Community College.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Dear brothers, let me take a few seconds to thank my brother and friend Salah and the organizers of this program for inviting me to this program in order to share some thoughts and some concern with you. Alhamdulillah, that the topic that I have been asked to talk about is my experience in Islamic school. This gives me freedom to express my view, and I don't think that I will have any questions and any challenge, because I'm just expressing my view. But before talking about my experience in Islamic school, I would like to talk about the importance of Islamic school. To me, Islamic school, the question of Islamic school is the question of survival of Muslims in this part of the world. Any religion or the followers of any religion, wherever they go, they take with them their culture and belief. Muslims are not exception from this. Muslims came to this part of the world for many reasons. When we have Muslims in this part of the world, we are expecting to see Muslims coming with their religion and culture. When I'm talking about the culture, I'm talking about Islamic culture. You know the history of Islam in this part of the world? Muslims, at the very beginning, they are concerned with building mosques in order to provide their obligations in this masjid, prayer mainly, and also to use the masjid or musalla for other Islamic activities. But in 80s, since 80s, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has inspired some of Muslims to think about establishing the Islamic schools. This is what we are seeing now taking place in the United States. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless these brothers and sisters and whoever contribute in establishing Islamic school, because Islamic schools mean the survival of Muslims' future generation in this part of the world. It is not a secret to say that Islam is the most hateful religion in the whole world, for many reasons. The reasons for that, you know, I'm not going to elaborate on the reasons, but this is fact, this is true, this is reality. I was in Milwaukee last week. There was a conference about Da'wah. And we have among the speakers Murad Hoffman, who was the German ambassador to Algeria and Morocco, and he was director of NATO and all these things. He spoke about why Islamic Dawah failed in the West. We told him that no Islamic Dawah didn't fail in the West, but he has his own opinion. During the course of this conference, many issues have been brought. I believe that you heard what's taking place now in South Carolina, when the Board of Education had a meeting to discuss what the Jews proposed to the Board of Education, not only in the North South Carolina, but in the whole United States. They want 10 commandments to put in Islamic and in the schools, all the schools. Christians and the others objected it. All the attendants objected it. They say, what about Muslim, what about Christian, what about Buddhist, what about so and so and so and so. And one of the Christians who is on the top of the Board of Education, he asked the people to turn off the recorder. Fortunately, they didn't turn it off. And this man said, squeeze Hindus and kill Muslims. This is our country. These Christians constitute the majority in America. We don't care about Muslims. We don't care about Hindus. This is a Christian country. Pardon?
About Jews. Huh?
Yeah, but the man is a Christian. He's just objecting what the Jews are saying. So, my brothers and sisters, we have to understand and that, alhamdulillah, we are in this part of the world. We have a freedom to practice our deen to the extent, and nevertheless, we have enemies, whether in the West or in Asia, whether in Africa, in the African continent, whether in Asia, everywhere we have. In 1993, also the conference, official conference that took place in Washington, D.C. I don't know if you know about this or not. This is not a secret. President Clinton and others, they had a meeting. Some of the leading priests and rabbis were invited to this meeting. I'm not saying this to scare anyone or to make anyone to feel sad, but this is a reality. We have to face it. And this meeting, among the agenda is how to stop growing Islam and Muslims in this part of the world. President Clinton, he was not the first one. He started at the time of Nixon. We might go back from Nixon and Jimmy Carter, and the time of Clinton. So they said, let us give Islam and Muslims 80 years. They are planning from now to 80 years to eradicate Islam and Muslims in this part of the world. I strongly believe they can't eradicate Islam and Muslims in this part of the world, because this Islam, when Islam enters any place in this world, Islam can never wipe out or eradicate. This is promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they had their plans from now to 80 years. Okay, I'll get this information from Dr. Ali Amir, who has been here for more than 30 years as a da'i, and his friend is a professor at the university where he teaches. He's his close friend. His friend was not invited, but his friend's friend was invited, and he told him this and revealed it to Ali Amir. However, Islamic school is very, very, very important for our survival, for our children, grandchildren, and this part of the world. Despite the deficiencies that we have in our Islamic school, is better than in a public school. We have many cases in everywhere, whether here in Michigan or in Ohio and Los Angeles, Chicago, wherever we have many, many incidents concerning our Muslims girls in public school. We'll talk about that later on. So now let me briefly state how to approach the topic. First, I would like to talk about the kinds of the parents that we have, kind of the parents send their children to the Islamic school, their purposes and goals. And second, I will talk about the kinds of the children that we have in Islamic schools. Okay? We have about two kinds of parents, to my understanding, who send their children to Islamic schools. What their purpose or goal of sending their children to Islamic school? I divided this purpose into two: behavioral aspects of purpose and educational purpose. Some of the parents send their children for Islamic school so that the children will have a good morality, for the moral issue. They don't care about the academic aspect. What they want drug-free school, dating-free school, but the education itself is not the issue for them. The issue is behavior and manners. We have those in the parents. So they don't care too much about the academic aspect. And the second type of the parents we have, these parents concerned about their behavior, about influence of the society. At the same time, they care for the academic aspect. They believe that Islamic school can give their children better education in better environment. Environment is more important. Environment and academic aspects go together for those and the parents. Those are the parents that are taking care of their children. They are really dedicated to in the schools. But those who just send their children for the minor issues, they don't care about their children progress in the school, whether the children do their homework or not. That's not their concern. Their concern is they have environment where their children would be. The environment is free, drug-free, dating-free, and all these bad things that we have in public school. So, based on the purpose and the goals of the parents, we have two kinds of the children in the school. Some of the children in the school, their behavior is not different from the children in public school. We know some schools where the children smoke cigarettes in the school. I'm talking about my experience now. Smoking cigarette and dating and do many bad things that the students in public school do. And these students, they don't want to hear what is called Islamic studies in Arabic. In most cases, they question, why we learn Arabic for? What are we going to do with Arabic? Here is not, we are in America, and America is an English-speaking country. What are we going to do with an Arabic? And we have other students who behave Islamically, well behavior. Those students, you find them all the time excel in their education. Very, very good children, behave very well. They love to learn about Islam, and they love to learn about Arabic language, although Arabic language might not be their mother tongue. So we have in the Islamic schools, according to my experience, all kinds different of the children, and their behavior. Some of them, their behavior is excellent. The others' behavior is worse than public school. If you read the message, there was an article written by in Imric. It was a critical article concerning Islamic studies. He talks about these kind of issues. And I know Brother Yahya, and for about 5 years, I know him very well. Although I did not agree with him in some of the other things he said, there was some exaggeration in what he said. In some other things also he didn't enclose it for one reason and another. But Islamic school, my brothers and sisters, regardless of all these things that we have, is the best environment for our children, is the only institution that will keep our children in our behavior. Although you find many Muslims and the children, our students complain about the lack of facilities. The children want to find a place to play basketball. They need a cafeteria. They want a swimming pool. This is the complaint of the children. And I found that some students, I can't say many, I can't give a percentage, they hate Islamic school. Our parents make us to come. We don't want to come to Islamic school. Why? We don't have a place to play. We don't have a swimming pool. All the time you separate between boys and girls, sit down, you do this and that. That's the complaint of our children. That's why they hate Islamic studies or the Islamic school. But they don't know that these institutions are the best for their future. When we have our Muslim children in our schools until they graduate, they finish high school, Then I strongly believe every child who finishes high school in Islamic school, when he goes to, she goes, or he goes to the college, he will be all right. He will be all right. This is my belief. And we have many students who graduated from Islamic schools and went to the college. They are doing excellent as far as their behavior is concerned. And academic-wise also, they are doing any good. So my brothers and sisters in Islam, my short is very, and my speech is very short. My speech also is based on personal experience. So what I will say, I would like to encourage the brothers and sisters who are behind the Islamic school to continue doing this, and I consider it as a divine obligation. It's a divine obligation because it has to do with the survival of Muslims' children in this part of the world. If we do not have Islamic school, wallahi al-azim, we are going to lose our children. We are going to lose our children. Muslims children, especially girls, mainly girls who go to public school, they have problems. And then right now we have many Muslim girls in this public school. You might know some of them, you might not know some of them. Whether in Detroit, in this area, or Canton, or wherever, we have many students who have been in problems. Just in the last week, I went somewhere and the father called me, talking to me about this issue, and his daughter left the home and staying with non-Muslims, kafir. Staying with him more than 3 weeks. And I went there talking to her with this Christian boy. It was something, my brothers and sisters. What makes me cry, I literally cry. This girl, she's staying with this boy, she's giving him dawah, talking about Islam, inviting him to become a Muslim in order to get married with her. We are not only 1, 3, which is taking place now in the Detroit area, in Dearborn, in all these areas, some areas that I don't want to mention. We have them because they are going to public school. In the school, they meet these and the boys. Muslims girls are attracted to non-Muslims. This is what is taking place. So the Islamic school, my brothers and sisters, will be the solution for our children. In the conference in Milwaukee, when we're talking about the dawah, I met many brothers. Some of them were with me in Islamic University in Medina. When they came back to these parts of the world, they came back to the United States, sent their children to the public school. What happened? This is the girls who were in Medina, know something about Islam, but they couldn't face the challenge on the street because this is where public school. And the children left home. The father lost his mind. In Chicago, there was a Muslimah from somewhere from Muslim world. She came to her parents, I want to marry this non-Muslim. This is recently taking place. Her father, the parents, because they are weak in deen, they are weak in Islam. They told the girl, tell him to accept Islam, then you get married, we'll marry you. She went and talked to the boy. The boy said, no, I don't want to be a Muslim. The girl came back to her parents. This is a public school girl. She said, no, he refused. Look what the parents said. My brothers, everything go back to the parents. The parents said, tell him to pretend like he accepts Islam. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-azim. See, so when our children started their education from the public school until they reach high school. This is what will happen. This is what will happen. I know that Islamic school, wallahi, the teachers are sincere. The teachers are doing their best. And those who are behind the Islamic school are doing a great job. We have to keep doing what we are doing, despite of the difficulties, despite of lack of facilities that we have, and this is the solution. And this is what will preserve, protect our children. And through Islamic school, we will be able to incorporate and instill in our children Islamic and heritage, Islamic culture, Islamic heritage. But unfortunately, also the parents have to understand. Parents have many expectations. Many parents think that Islamic school will solve their problems. No, Islamic school can't solve all the problems. It might be cooperation between school and home. Because the child, as they said, it is true, is a product of his environment. There are three environments that affect the child. As you know, home, school, and friends. It is very, very, very important, my brothers and sisters in Islam. I'm just reminding myself before you, Islamic school plays some rules. Islamic school can't instill in our children all the manners and Islamic characters that we are expecting to see. Home and school and friends. My brothers and sisters, choose friends for your children. Don't let your children to choose their own friends. The friends have a great impact on one another. I assume that the impact of the friends is more greater than the impact of anyone else. Prophet ﷺ made it very clear for us. مثل الجليس الصالح والجليس السوء كحامل المسك ونافخ الكير. It is obvious. Friends, 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 my brothers. And this girl who is having a problem now with her, who is having this problem. Some girls, friends, encouraging her. Even some of them come and pick her with this boy to take them wherever they want to go. And some of them telling her, you are doing a good job. This is what we're supposed to do so our parents will respond to our demand. Where all this come from? From the friends. So, my brothers and sisters, Islamic school can help greatly in instilling morals in the heart of our children, but the house and friends are very, very, very important. I don't know if you are aware of some of the brothers who find that what is needed is moral education. In Detroit Public School now, this is what they are trying to teach now. So these Muslim principles, they came up with idea what they call a Tarbiyah program. I think 5 schools get involved in it. Last time they had their convention, they invited me, and I listened to what they are saying. But I told them, my brothers, what you want to achieve or your dream can never come true except, to my understanding, except you establish boarding school. Because you see that in Islamic schools fail in bringing up the children as Muslims. I say, no, Islamic school didn't fail. Look at the houses. The children who badly behave in the school, look at the houses. And the children who behave well, look at their houses. Look at their friends. This is not Islamic school. It's a home. Friends. Islamic school, Muslims, Islamic schools are doing their best. If you want to create a new generation in this part of the world, as you are assuming or as you are trying, you have to have a boarding school. Boarding school will be the best, because if you have a boarding school, you have created a three environment. You have created a house and school and friends. If you don't have a boarding school, and it will be very difficult to achieve your goal. But the most important things, my brothers, I don't want to keep repeating myself. When we have Islamic school, the parents, this must be very clear in the mind of the parents. Islamic school can never meet your goal without your help. Without your help. Your job is to keep working with the school, to keep cooperating with the school and the friends. I'll stop here, inshallah, asking Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show us the right path and help us to achieve it, and show us in the bad ways and help us to avoid it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
May Allah reward the Sheikh. If there are any questions that we would like to ask the brother, Dr. Ali Sulaiman, please feel free to ask this question. There's no question.
No.
In Europe, where there is a larger Muslim community, they don't allow establishing Islamic schools there.
Mm-hmm.
So what we have here in the United States is a blessing. You have to know how to use it. And also there is no guarantee that it's going to be the case in some future. So you have any comments?
Well, and you're talking about Europe. I think in some part of Europe they allow Muslims to establish an Islamic school. But maybe in France, that's where the Muslims have problems. In Holland, they have a high school. Even now they are trying to establish Islamic universities. Islamic University in Holland. See, the Europeans are different from Americans. Europeans, they are afraid of Islam more than the United States, because Islamic countries are very close to Europe because of the history of Islam in Europe. Muslims rule in Europe, part of Europe. Spain and Muslims Islam reach to in Austria, reach to Poland and France. So Europeans, really they are afraid of Islam. And also inside Europe, in Central Europe, you have Bosnia, you have Albania. So the Europeans are afraid of Islam is different from the United States. Okay, United States, they do not afraid that a Muslim will establish an Islamic state here. But in Europe, it's already we have the Islamic state, and Muslims was part of the space of Europe. And also because of the large population of North Africans that you have in France, and most of them, they are from, if we want to call them Hamas or something like that. That's why they don't allow Muslims to establish schools in France. But in other parts of Europe, in London, in Holland, in Germany, they allow Muslims to establish a school. Now, Sister Nabila.
I have a comment about the importance of schools for the girls in particular. Actually, I feel that the Islamic schools are important for both boys and girls as much. The only thing is that the parents notice what happened to the girl, but they don't notice because in Islam the man can marry a non-Muslim. So when a boy escapes or run away with a girl who is non-Muslim, the parents allow it because it's permissible. It's something okay. But for a girl, so the importance of the Islamic schools and the Islamic education and Islamic moral is very important for both boys and girls. And that's actually why most parents or most Islamic schools have more girls than boys, because of this misconception. that Islamic education will protect the girls more than boys, and that's a big misconception. Boys and girls need to be protected as much, because whatever is forbidden in Islam for boys or for girls is forbidden. So that's my thought.
May Allah bless you, Sister Nabila. I totally agree with you. And but why, and the reason why we talk more about the girls, we didn't mean that, and the boys didn't need Islamic studies, they do need. But if you have a boy and girl, and both became corrupt, the girl will suffer more than the boy. The girl will suffer more than the boy. The girl, she become pregnant, maybe she can't continue her schools, and the community will reject her, what is the culture, what is not any good, okay? And she will suffer more than the boy. If both became corrupt, the girl will suffer more than the boy, okay? I think that's why, and we talk more about the girls, but we didn't exclude the boy. But they are equally important. The Islamic school is equally important for both, because we find that, and in most cases, it's easily for the girl to be deceived, okay? And that's why we are talking about this. Now, I think our sister also, she disagrees.
Yes, I disagree again with you, brother.
Okay.
Because if we raise our boys to be responsible, if he got a girl pregnant, he will be, taking care of her. So he's in as much trouble as his sister, both, like you said, corrupt. So I think, for me, I believe like boys and girls equally. There is no difference. And whenever people make like difference between them, I feel this is back Jahiliyyah. We got from our society, we got from our rape, nurturing in our communities, we got it from back home. And I don't believe, like for me, it was more trouble. I cared about my boys because I felt the girls were closer to me, so it was easier for me to make them follow my religion, my deen. But for the boys, I felt they were easier to slip away. So I feel sometimes the boys are much more in need for Islamic school than boys.
Jazakallah khairan. But still, I still believe what I said. Now, if the girl, she became pregnant, she can't continue the school, and the boy, he has a girl with a pregnant girl, the boy can go to school, but the girl, she can't go to school. See this, in this aspect we are saying, but this is not the Jahiliyyah, and this is practical. We are talking about practical things here. Idealistic, yes. Islamically, yes. Both are equally important. We don't say that we don't take care of our boys. Our boys can do this and that. But the boy he doesn't care. He won't be responsible. He will leave the girl for her parents, for her father, most of the cases. Okay? So when we are saying this, we are talking about it practically. And now, both boys, the boy and girl, they became corrupt. One, she became a pregnant Muslim. She can't continue school. The boy can go to school. See, that's why we are looking at. That's what I'm saying. But it is true that in many cases when we are talking, sometimes we don't put emphasis on the boys. We talk much about the girls because we're afraid more about the boys in every society. But that's not true. I believe. We have to address...
And that's the reason for the problem in Dearborn area. Because they are so, rigid with the boys, and they let with the girls, and they let the boys free to do whatever they want. And that will, make the girls more rebellious because they see different treatment between them and the...
In the light of the fact that we would like to remain focused and on time as far as the presentations, I would like to ask you to, at least we will continue the discussion, which is very interesting and I think it's very important also, to the time, we will defer it to the time when we're having our open discussion, when we have all the panel. This is not to say that this issue is not important, but I think we would like to get a sense of responsibility going on from the very beginning of this conference here today. In the sense that it appeared to be much more important to reach the end of the conference today with a short list of objectives that we would like to implement in order to be able to improve on our situation here. So having said that, I would like for every participant today to keep in their mind, as we are sitting here and enjoying these presentations, what are the things and the priorities that we would like to address. So at the end of the day, you are all, Jazakumullah khair, requested to participate in that discussion session with some critical points that we would like to do. Jazakallah khair, Dr. Ali Sulaiman, for his presentation. And we would like to move on to the next presentation by Brother Majid al-Dahabi, Abu Basim, Jazakallah khair. He is going to talk about something that Dr. Sulaiman already touched upon, which is the importance of the language, the Arabic language. Because of the fact, Jazakallah khair, because of the fact that Brother Majid will be talking in Arabic, appropriately so because of the topic, his son, Dr. Basim Jazakallah khair, has volunteered to simultaneously translate to the people who are non-Arabic speakers. So he will be probably seated somewhere here in the middle maybe, and the brothers and sisters who may need the visit his sons in town. He has degrees both in law and in Arabic literature from Damascus University, and he has taught for many, many years at the educational system in Syria and also in the different Arabic countries. And he managed one of the biggest libraries, the Syrian National Library, Al-Maktab al-Zahiriyya, in Damascus. He is certainly an authority. We, the members of the community here, are very fortunate, and the school teachers, the Arabic and Islamic school teachers, in the fact that he has generously offered to give us some Arabic courses, and we are taking these courses as at the present time, and we have all benefited from that.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أيها الإخوة والأخوات، لن أكون محاضرا وإنما أكون مذكرا لكم، لأن حديثي يتعلق بأهمية اللغة العربية في فهم القرآن الكريم. وقراءة القرآن الكريم بالنسبة لكم كما أعتقد هي عادة يومية لا تنقطعون عنها. لذلك فلا أرى نفسي محاضرا وإنما أرى نفسي مذكرا، تمثلا بقوله تعالى: وذكر فإن الذكرى تنفع المؤمنين. عناصر المحاضرة هي كما يلي: وجوب قراءة القرآن الكريم وفضل القراءة. القرآن الكريم عربي. اللغات وأنواعها. خصائص اللغة العربية. أهمية اللغة العربية في فهم القرآن الكريم. ثم أنهي المحاضرة ببعض الآيات الكريمة التي تظهر نواحي الإبداع في القرآن الكريم. قال تعالى: وهذا كتاب أنزلناه مبارك إن هذا القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوم لا يأتيه الباطل من بين يديه ولا من خلفه. ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. وقال أيضا: لا يعذب الله قلبا وعى القرآن. وقال صلى الله عليه وسلم: يقال لصاحب القرآن: اقرأ وارتقي ورتل كما كنت ترتل في الدنيا فإن منزلتك عند آخر آية تقرأها. وقال أيضا: إن لله عز وجل أهلين من الناس. قيل: من هم يا رسول الله؟ قال: أهل القرآن هم أهل الله وخاصته.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Brother Majid started saying that this will not be a lecture in sort, rather than a reminder, because all of you reads the Quran on a daily basis, so this is more of a reminder than a lecture. And in his talk today, he will touch upon few points. One of them is the wujub of qira'at al-Quran and its importance. Secondly, the Quran is in Arabic. And the third point is languages and its differences, its kinds, the differences between the languages. The fourth point is the uniqueness of the Arabic language. The fifth point is the importance of understanding Arabic in understanding the Quran. And the last point is recitation, small surahs from the Quran Kareem. And he started saying, as you have heard in Arabic, the ayats that mentioning the importance of reciting Quran and the hadith that's mentioning that too.
القرآن الكريم والعربية. قال الله تعالى في سورة النحل: وهذا لسان عربي مبين. وقال في سورة يوسف: إنا أنزلناه قرآنا عربيا لعلكم تعقلون. ووردت عروبة القرآن الكريم في سورة طه، وفي سورة الشورى، وفي سورة الأعراف، وفي سورة الرعد، وفي سورة الشعراء، وفي سورة الأحقاف. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: تعلموا العربية وعلموها الناس. وقال أيضا: أنا أفصح العرب بيد أني من قريش. وقال أيضا، وهذا الحديث البعض يقولون إنه ضعيف: أحب العرب لثلاث، لأني عربي، والقرآن عربي، ولسان أهل الجنة عربي. وأما أمير المؤمنين عمر بن الخطاب فقد قال: تعلموا العربية فإنه من الدين. وقال سيدنا أبو بكر الصديق رضي الله عنه: قريش أوسط العرب في العرب دارا، وأحسنه جوارا، وأعربه ألسنة. وقال قتادة: كانت قريش تحتبي أي تختار أفضل لغات العرب حتى صار أفضل لغاتها لغتها، فنزل القرآن بها. وأحب أن أبدأ، وقبل أن أبدأ بالتفصيل أحب أن أقول إن لغة القرآن الكريم كانت في معظمها بنحو 90 أو 95% هي لغة قريش، ولكن هناك بعض الألفاظ لغات بعض القبائل، والقبائل التي وردت بعض تعابيرها في القرآن الكريم هي 38 قبيلة، منها قبيلة هذيل وكنانة وحمير وجرهم وقيس وعمان وحضرموت والأشعريين وكندة وأهل الحجاز وأهل اليمن وأنمار. لذلك إذا تذكرتم بعض معلوماتكم في الثانوي كانوا يقولون لكم هذه لغة أهل الحجاز وهذه لغة بني تميم. مثلا كلمة ما بعضهم يعتبرونها من أخوات ليس، فيقولون مثلا ما الجو باردا، وقبيلة أخرى كانت تعتبرها نافية لا عمل لها فتقول ما الجو بارد. لذلك قد يكون مر معكم مثل هذا، هذه لغة تميم وهذه لغة أهل الحجاز. وبالمناسبة أحب أن أقول لكم إنه قد تمر معكم في بعض الآيات الكريمة بعض كلمات تجدونها مخالفة للآيات الأخرى أو للقاعدة العامة التي وردت. فعلى سبيل المثال كلمة 100 كما وردت في القرآن الكريم وكما هو المتعارف عليها لغة يأتي الاسم بعدها مجرورا، فأقول قرأت 100 صفحة. ولكن في سورة الكهف لم ترد إلا مرة واحدة: فلبثوا في كهفهم 300 سنين، وردت بصيغة الجمع المنصوبة، مع أن بعد 100 في كل آيات القرآن الكريم لم يرد المعدود إلا مجرورا ومفردا. فقد يتساءل أحدكم لماذا وما هو السبب؟ فالسبب أنها قد تكون هذه لهجة إحدى القبائل، وأعتقد أن القرآن الكريم نزل وجامل بعض القبائل حتى لا يكون فيه عصبية للغة قريش. ولماذا اختيرت لغة قريش؟ لأنها كانت هي اللغة السائدة الأفضل، ولأن قريشا كانت تختار أفضل اللهجات العربية على الإطلاق. وقريش بحكم مركزها السياسي والديني والتجاري كما هو معروف دائما الأقوى، لا أقول يفرض لغته على غيره، وإنما دائما الأضعف يحاول أن يتسلق على الأعلى ويحاول أن يقلد الأعلى. لذلك نرى الآن مثلا اللغة الإنجليزية لماذا هي الشائعة الآن في العالم؟ لأنها لغة الدولة القوية. فيما مضى من 20 أو 30 سنة كانت اللغة الفرنسية. لماذا؟ لأن فرنسا في ذلك الوقت كانت ففي ذلك الوقت كانت لغة قريش هي اللغة السائدة في معظم أنحاء الجزيرة العربية.
And the second point, Brother Majid started pointing out to the ayats in the Quran that's mentioning that the Quran is in Arabic and the importance of the Arabic language as far as the Quran Kareem. And also he mentioned few hadith from the Prophet ﷺ indicating how important the Arabic language too. He started mentioning that the language that the Quran used is mainly the language of Quraysh tribe, because Quraysh was one of the biggest and the dominant tribes in the Arabian Peninsula at that time. And you will see some verses or some words worded differently from the known tongue to Quraysh, and this is coming from the other tribes. However, 90% or 95% of the Arabic in the Quran Kareem is in the language of Quraysh. And this is coming partly because of the dominance of the Quraysh tribe at that time, and also because their tongue was mainly the best.
سأذكر لكم بعض الأمثلة البسيطة لتروا الفرق بين لغة قريش ولغة القبائل الأخرى. فمثلا قبيلة أضاعة كانت عوضا عن ياء المتكلم كانت تضع حرف الجيم. فمثلا بدل أن أقول هذا راعية، راعية قد خرج معي، كانوا يقولون هذا راعج خرج معج. فما رأيكم لو أن القرآن الكريم أخذ بلهجتهم فقال مثلا جاء أبج وهذا بعلج، الآية الكريمة وهذا بعلي شيخا، لو قالت في القرآن وهذا بعلج شيخا، يا ترى أيهما ألطف وأجمل في السمع؟ قبيلة تميم كانت تبدل بدلا من النون بدلا من الهمزة تقولها عين. فمثلا عوض عن يقول أريد أن أدرس أريد عن أدرس. فإذا هناك من الشعر يقول فلا تلهك الدنيا عن الدين واعتمل لآخرة لا بد عن ستسيرها، أي عن ستسيرها. وهناك بني سعد كانوا بدلا من الكاف يستعملون الشين، وهذه الآن موجود عندنا في بعض القبائل في سوريا. مثلا عوض عن أن يقول عليك ومنك وبك عليشي ومنشي وبشي، وهذه الآن في سوريا بعض القبائل تستعمل هذا الشيء. مثلا قبيلة حمر كانت بدلا من التعريف تستعمل أم، مثلا عوضا عن كلمة البر أنبر، الصيام أم صيام. قبيلة هذيل بدلا من الحاء تستعمل العين، بدلا من أن أقول أحل الله الحلال أعل الله العلال. لغة بهراء كانت تكسر أول فعل مضارع، عوض أن أقول تكتبان تكتبان، تعلمون تعلمون، تفعلين تفعلين. وهناك أمثلة أخرى إذا أراد بعضكم أن يسمع في آخر المحاضرة فأنا الاستعداد. هذه بعض الأمثلة أبين لمن اختار القرآن الكريم أو لمن اختار الله سبحانه وتعالى لغة قريش. أما أنواع اللغات فهناك آراء عديدة في أقسام اللغات في أنواعها، ولكنني اخترت الشهيرة منها والمتفق على صحته. اللغات الأحادية الهجاء أو المنعزلة، وهي التي تكون الكلمة الواحدة تارة فعلا ماضيا وتارة مضارعا وتارة أمرا وتارة فاعلا وتارة مفعولا وتارة صفة، ولا يفهم معناها إلا من سياق الكلام. فمثلا استعملنا كلمة كتب، إن كان شخص نقول عنه كتب، أو إن كان كتاب اسمه كتب، أو إن كان كل هالشيء هذا. هذه اللغات هي اللغة الصينية ولهجاتها، ولغات السيام وأنام وبورما والتيبت وغيرها، وهذه من اللغات التي أصبحت. النوع الثاني اللغات غير المتصرفة أو الغروية أو الإلصاقية أو لغات الوصل والجمع، وهي اللغات التي يتغير معنى الكلمة بحسب ما يتبعها من حروف. فعلى سبيل المثال كلمة باق باللغة التركية تدل على النظر، فإذا أريد به التعبير عن المصدر ألحقنا به الأداة مق فيصبح باق مق يعني النظر. وإذا أريد صيغة الفعل الحاضر أي أرى أضيفت الأداة يو فيصير باق يو يعني بمعنى انظر. وللدلالة على الماضي المؤكد تضاف الأداة دي فيكون الفعل باق دي. أي قد نظر، وهكذا تضاف الضمائر وغيرها ويبقى الأصل باق فيها كلها ثابتا في مكانه لا يتغير. أما النوع الثالث وهو الأهم وهو لغتنا العربية وهي التي تسمى اللغات المتصرفة أو التحليلية، أي التي تتحول أصولها كأن تتغير حركات حروفها، وكأن يضاف على تلك الأصول زوائد بالتصدير أو الحشو في آخره. مثال: كتب، كتب، يكتب، يكتب، سيكتب، سوف يكتب، كاتب، استكتب، تكاتب، كاتب، مكتوب، كلها من كلمة كتب. فين هذا غير موجود في اللغات الأخرى. وهذا القسم من اللغات طائفتان: الأولى طائفة اللغات الحامية السامية، ومنها المصرية القديمة والقبطية والبربرية والحبشية والآشورية وغيرها، والعربية والسريانية. والنوع الثاني طائفة اللغات الهندية الأوروبية، ومنها السنسكريتية واللغات الإيرانية واليونانية القديمة والحديثة واللغات الجرمانية واللاتينية واللغات المتفرعة عنها والأرمنية والألبانية. هذه نوع خصائص اللغة العربية، وهنا بيت التفصيل الذي يهمنا. أولا ثبت أنها
In the third portion of the lecture, Brother Majid started mentioning how the different tribes used to substitute different letters for each other, or sometimes use different words in their language. And he gave a few examples that would make it is very strange to us who reads the Quran, because it is coming from Quraysh language. Also, he mentioned that languages in general has three types. First, the single character, and the main example is simply the Chinese. And you cannot understand the character by itself unless you understand what is before it and what is after it. This is one kind of the languages, and it's called isolated or a single character. The second part is a non-analytical languages, and the prime example is the Turkish language. And in this language, the verb, let's say, would not change, but you add to it certain letters to indicate, for example, its tense or who's using the verb. And the third kind of languages is the analytical languages, and it is basically two types. Either the Semitic, which is the Arabic part of it, and the old Egyptian, and the second part is the Indo-European languages, and part of it is the Latin. And in those languages, simply, for example, the word a book or write, it is related, to each other, but you can, change the tense of the verb or use. So those are the analytical languages. And now he will start in the fourth point of the lecture, talking about the uniqueness of the Arabic language.
أما الآن خصائص اللغة العربية. أولا ثبت أن أقدم اللغات الحية الآن على الإطلاق هي اللغة العربية. ثانيا اللغة العربية لغة مثالية روحية، أي أن الألفاظ التي تتعلق بالأشياء الروحية والخلقية والدينية موجودة في اللغة العربية أكثر من غيرها. أخلاق، فضيلة، بر، رحمة، مودة وما أشبه. ثالثا ذات جرس موسيقي. للغة العربية وقع في الأذن يختلف كثيرا عن غيرها من اللغة. مثلا إذا قلنا والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى ولا الأخ، نجد أن لها وقع معينة. الرحمن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان وما أشبه. رابعا ثبات معاني ألفاظها مع قدرتها على التطور. مثلا قال زهير بن أبي سلمى، وهذه من نسياتكم: سئمت تكاليف الحياة ومن يعيش 80 حولا لا أبا لك يسأمي، وأعلم علم اليوم والأمس قبله، ولكنني عن علم ما في غد عمي. وأما قدرته على التطور، فمثلا كلمة سيارة في الماضي كانت تعني القافلة، أما الآن فأصبحت تلك الوسيلة التي نعرفها كلنا. مثلا كلمة فنان كانت فيما مضى تعني حمار الوحش، لأن له فنونا في العدو، ولكنها الآن صارت تستعمل لصاحب الصوت الحلو أو الرسمات الحلوة. كان الفنان في الماضي يعيش في البرية في الغابات، فأصبح الآن له نقابات ويمنح أوسمة ويصفق له وينظر إليه. فإن قيل عن فنان أمام وزير من الوزراء الفنان فلان يريد أن يقابله والعالم فلان يريد أن يقابله، فتأكدوا أن الفنان سيدخل ويقابل الوزير قبل العالم مهما كان العالم، عالم دين أو عالم دنيا. مثلا كلمة الجرثومة في الماضي كانت تعني الأصل، فإذا أردنا أن نمدح شخصا قلنا له أنت جرثومة قبيلتك أو جرثومة عائلتك. أما إن قلناها الآن لإنسان بدنا نتخيل نحن وياه. أما اتساعها فالواقع أعتقد أنه ليس في لغات العالم لغة فيها من اتساع الألفاظ كاللغة العربية. فعلى سبيل المثال مثلا كلمة الذنب ذال ونون وباء تعني كما نعلم كلنا الإثم والجرم والمعصية. إن حركنا النون صارت الذنب بمعنى الذيل، وإن قلنا ذنب الثعلب صارت معناها نبتة على شكل ذنب الثعلب، وإن قلنا ذنابة معناها ذنب الطائر والأتباع، وإن قلنا ذنابة كان معناها شبه مخاطن ينزل من أنوف الإبل، وإن قلنا هؤلاء ذنب فلان بمعنى أتباعه. لذلك قال إبراهيم الجازري وهو عالم لغوي لبناني بالمناسبة بأبيات جميل: تعجب قوم من تأخر حالنا ولا عجب من حالنا إن تأخر، فمذ أصبحت أذنابنا أرؤسا لنا غدونا بحكم الطبع نمشي إلى الوراء. وتعلمون هذه من مسياتكم في الثانوي أن هناك قبيلة كان يقال لها بنو أنف الناقة، وكانوا يعيرونهم بهذا الاسم. فإذا بالشاعر الحطيئة قلب هذا الذم مدحا فقال: قوم هم الرأس والأذناب غيرهم ومن يسوي بأنف الناقة الذنب. هن أنف الناقة، أما بقية الناس ذنب الناقة. والذانب التابع للشيء على أثره بيمشي وراه. والذنوب الفرس الطويل الذنب. والذنوب لحم المتن. والذنوب الحظ والنصيب. والجمع أذنبة وذنائب وذناب. والذنوب الدلو فيها هي الماء. لذلك وردت في القرآن الكريم في إحدى السور ولا أذكر تماما وله على ذنوب بمعنى اليوم الطويل العقاب، ولهم ذنوب مثل ذنوبي. لا الآية ما يتذكرها تماما. ومثال آخر مختصر عن كلمة مل، تعرفوا مل يمل من الملل. أما إن قلنا مل يمل حركنا الميم من فتحة لضمه تحول المعنى بمعنى كففنا الثوب خيطناه مثل ما بنقول لفقناه على تعبيرنا الشامي. لفقة الثوب على الخياطة بتقيلي. يمل اللحم بمعنى يدفنه في التراب لينضج. هذا كله بين فتحة مل يمل ومل يمل، ولا أريد أن أدخل في تفصيلات أخرى في هذه. على سبيل المثال مثلا أهل الحجاز كانوا يقولون أمل الكتاب بمعنى نقلوا إياها. وأما بنو تميم كانوا يقولون أملى، وكلاهما بمعنى واحد. ووردت في القرآن الكريم عودة إذا ما قلت بأن القرآن الكريم أخذ به لم يأخذ بلغة الجدواج فقط. مثلا في لغة أهل الحجاز فعل أملى قال تعالى في سورة البقرة الآية 280: فإن كان الذي عليه الحق سفيها أو ضعيفا أو لا يستطيع أن يمل هذا فليملل وليه العدل. وأما أملى فقال تعالى في سورة الفرقان: وقالوا أساطير الأولين اكتتبها فهي تملى عليه بكرة وأصيلا. ولا أريد أن أدخل بأمثلة كثيرة لأنها طويلة. الميزة السادسة للغة العربية هي الإعراب، لأن حركة واحدة تغير المعنى. فلو قلنا سألنا الأستاذ دون تحريك فلا نعرف من السائل ومن المسؤول، هل نحن الذين سألناه أو هو الذي سألنا. فإن قلنا سألنا الأستاذ ما تبينا أن نحن الطلاب الفاعل والأستاذ المسكين هو المفعول به. وإن قلنا سألنا الأستاذ قلب المعنى، صار هو السائل ونحن المسؤولين. إذا مثلا تقولون ثنى وأثنى، ثنى الشيء وأثنى بمعنى مدحه. هدى وأهدى، هذا أدى الهداية وأهدى قدم هديه. أتى وآتى، أتى بمعنى جاء، آتى بمعنى أعطى. البر والبر والبر تعرفونها. البر بمعنى الإحسان، والبر الأرض اليابسة، والبر حب القمح. عنان وعنان. العنان هو الأعالي، تقول الطائرة في عنان السماء، والعنان بالكسر هو الغسن تبع الحمار أو الفرس أو ما أشبه. لذلك بالمداعبة كانت إحدى المدرسات اسمها عنان، ولكن كانت على حد تعبيرنا الشامي منزعة كثير. فكان إذا أراد أحد المدرسين أن يغيظها
منزع بالدبريان.
إيه.
شو منزع يعني؟ شو منزع؟
يعني شايفة حالة هيك النقرة زيادة، شايفة؟ كانت تجي للتصحيح مغندرة على آخر طرز، يعني في مكان في الشام عندنا من نادي السافة كانت هي السافرات. فكان لنا صديق جريء جدا، إذا أراد أن يغيظها يريد إلى عنان خانه، يعني حول الفتحة للكسر، يصير معناتها عواض فرو، يصير غسل دابي. لا 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 أنا عنان مو عنان، العفو لا تغفر. فبين عنان وعنان، بين أعالي بين غسان دابي. لذلك مثل الآية كانت تعرفوا إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء. إذا الواحد ما قرأ قراءة صحيحة انقلب المعنى إلى كفر، لأن العلماء هي المفعول به مقدم والعلماء الفاعل مؤخر. وجعل كلمة الذين كفروا السفلى وكلمة الله هي العليا. إن قلنا وكلمة اعتبرنا الواو حرف عطف، قلنا وكلمة معناتها كمان المعنى صار في كفر، إنه كانت كلمة الله واطي إجا حولها لعالي، في حين وجعل كلمة الذين كفروا السفلى كانت كلمة إلى ما قيمة وطي. أما كلمة الله العليا يعني هي من أصل عالي ما في حاجة لأي تحويل. وتذكرون كمان ناحية النحوية يقال أن أحد النحاة كان هو وابنته في ليلة مقمرة، فقالت لأبيها يا أبي ما أجمل السماء، فقال لها نجومها. أنا على شتر. قال لا يا أبتي لا أريد أسألك، لا أريد هذا، وإنما أنا أتعجب من جمال السماء. فقال لها قولي يا بني ما أجمل السماء، ولا تقولي ما أجمل السماء. الشيء السابع، الخاصة السابعة، مناسبة الحروف والألفاظ لمعانيها، أي إيحاء اللفظ بالمعنى. فمثلا حرف السين في اللغة العربية دائما يدل على الشيء النفسي الداخلي الخفي، مثلا نفس، حس، أنس، جس، لمس، دس، سرى. تلاحظون كل هذه المعاني فيها معنى همس، وسوس، سل، أسرى، نسي، أسير. أسير بمعنى حزن، كلها تدل على أشياء نفسية. مثلا الغين تدل على الغيبوبة، هذا طبعا من علم فقه اللغة. الغين تدل على الغيبوبة والاستتار، غيب، غيبة، غائب، غريب، غيم، غروب، غشة، أغمى، غمة، غطى، غشية، كلها فيها شيء من الغياب. حرف الراء يفيد التكرار، جر، مرة، كر، فر، دحرج، جرجر، رفرف، رجرج. فمثلا كلمة غرق بتلاحظوا فيها الغين التي تدل على الغياب، كان مبين ما عاد مبين. الراء تدل على التكرار، بدا ينزل الشيء بأثر الشيء. القاف تدل على الصدم، وصل الصف غرق. فحروف فعل غرق يوحي بالمعنى. مثلا الكلمات التي تدل على اضطراب، غلا غليانا، فار فورانا، ثار ثورانا، فاض فيضانا. مثلا كسر، قطع، تفيد زيادة، كسر الألم. أما كسر مثلا طلع من الطالب عمل هيك، أما كسر. كسر، قطع، فرم وشاف شاف. شمر، مو عمل هيك، هيك مو اسمه تشمير، إذا ما عمل هيك ما اسمه شمر. اللفظ بعض مرات يوحي، وهي قال الشاعر عم يمدح شخص يقول أين الجحاجح ممن ينتمون إلى ذؤابة الشرف الوضاح من مضر. كلمة جحاجح لو الإنسان ما عرف معناها بيستوصف إنه في شيء كبير عظيم، يعني يجوز ما يفهم معناتها. جحاجح طبعا أشراف القوم وعظمائهم. الخاصة الثامنة وهي الترادف. مثلا بعتقد باللغة الإنجليزية، أنا ما بعرف إنجليزي بالمصري، يمكن كلمة love هي الحب، أما باللغة العربية الحب يمكن له 10 أسماء.